Hi everyone. If you like the way I teach and want me to be your teacher, the link to my engineering fundamental school is in the description below. Enjoy the video. In the last video, we left off looking at Newton's second law with the assumption that the right-hand side was equal to 0. We observed that the important things in that equation look to be the units, which we discussed last time. We discussed that difference between the English and the metric system. And what we're trying to discuss this time is we see that summation symbol on the left-hand side of the equation, a summation of forces. So of course, adding vectors is what we're going to review next. So just to remind you, a vector is something with magnitude and direction. What does that mean for us? If we had a vector that we wanted to sum, two vectors, like this vector here, A, and another vector shown, vector B, these vectors have associated lengths. For instance, vector A has a length of A, and vector B has a length of B, and associated directions. Vector A we say is fully horizontal and pointing to the right. Vector B, we'll say it's at an angle of theta with the vertical. Now, if we wanted to sum these two vectors, what we would do is use the parallelogram rule of vector addition, which basically states that what we do is begin at our origin point, O. Once we start at the origin, what we do is we travel along the length of vector A, we take a copy of vector B, and we place it at the head of vector A. The result would be the resultant vector, R, which is said to be the sum of vectors A and B. Or we can go the other way, begin at the origin, travel along the length of vector B, and then place a copy of vector A at the head of vector B. Either way, we will get to the value of the resultant, where the resultant vector is equal to the sum of the A vector and the B vector. Or, if we travel the other way, it's also the sum of the B vector and the A vector. Now, typically we don't look at both halves of this parallelogram at the same time. We typically look at the bottom half or the top half. Let's observe the lower half, shown right here. Okay, so if I filled in some of these angles here, opposite of the B side would be beta. Opposite of the A side is the angle alpha, and opposite of the resultant side is the angle rho. Now we see a triangle. What kind of techniques are coming to our brain? What I'm thinking of is the sine rule along with the cosine rule. Let's get a reminder of what the sine rule is. The sine rule states that A over the sine of alpha plus A over the sine of alpha is exactly equal to B over the sine of beta, which is exactly equal to R over the sine of rho. And what about that cosine rule? The cosine rule says, one instance of the cosine rule is that R squared is equal to A squared plus B squared minus 2AB cosine of the angle which is opposite to the r side. The angle opposite of r is going to be rho. Okay, these are our tools that we can use to solve problems. When would we use the parallelogram rule of vector addition or the triangle rule? We use it when we're trying to sum two vectors which have, we use it when we're trying to find the components of a single vector. Let's say this vector r. If we wanted to find its components in a set of axes which are not perpendicular to each other. So if you observe A and B, shown above, are not perpendicular. They have an angle rho, which is not equal to 90 degrees. Let's do an example to illustrate this. Let's say we have a particle, and this particle P is experiencing a single force. What's that single force that it's experiencing? The particle P is experiencing a force of 120 newtons. It's asking, find the components of my vector r, which point in the direction A and the direction B. What's my A direction? Here is my A direction. And what's my B direction? Here's my B direction. Now the A direction is measured 60 degrees from my resultant, and the B direction is measured 80 degrees from my resultant. What I'm looking for is, what are the lengths of A and B such that they sum to the resultant? So first thing, let's take a copy of this picture and let's paste it below. We have the A direction measured 60 degrees from the resultant R. And then we have the B direction, which is fully vertical. What we're looking for in the problem is this side length A and this side length B, such that the resultant, the sum of the vector A and B, is equal to 120 newtons. Here is our vector A, and then here's our second vector, vector B. Now let's solve the problem. We have to think about what are our knowns and what are our unknowns. Our unknowns are A and B. And what are the other things that we know? Well, we know this angle here. And we have, by geometry, we can see the other angle is the angle here. The angle between B and the A direction is shown right here. It's 80 plus 60. 80 and 60 is 140 degrees. And by supplementary angles, we know that this is 40 degrees. If this is 60 here and this is 40 here, that would mean that this is 80 degrees for a sum of 180 degrees total. We have a triangle which we know all the angles, and what's unknown are the side lengths A and B. So I think the sine rule would come in handy for us. So let's use it. A over the sine of 80 degrees has to be equal to R, which is 120 newtons, divided by the sine of 40 degrees. Side length A is equal to the ratio of the sines multiplying 120. What about for side length B? Let's find the final answer here. This one is going to be equal to 183.85 newtons. And B we can do in a similar fashion. B divided by the sine of 60 degrees is equal to R, 120, divided by the sine of 40 degrees. Our side length B is equal to the sine of 60 divided by the sine of 40 multiplied by 120. So B ends up to be 161.68 newtons. These are our answers. In the next video, we'll discuss the importance of the dot product and how from single vector equations we get multiple scalar equations. We'll also be breaking down single vectors into vector components and discussing unit vectors. Hope to see you in the next video. Keep learning and keep working hard. Goodbye.